Anna, as you said, it's the 29th, and the government funding deadline is tomorrow, the 30th. That's tomorrow. And the White House is finally holding a meeting between Donald Trump, Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries, Mike Johnson, and John Thune.
Good morning, I'm Anna Palmer.
And I'm Jake Sherman.
And welcome to the Daily Punch, brought to you by Punchable News. It's Monday, September 29th, 2025. Let's get in the mix. Here are your headlines of the day. Number one, what both sides want in today's White House meeting. Number two, a look inside shutdown messaging. And number three, and there's more, staff changes. Punchable News closes out CBCF ALC, and colleges are weighing into the NIL chat. All right, Jake, lots to get to this morning. We are leading our morning edition and really kicking off the week with a focus on this White House meeting. The big four leaders headed to the White House. All eyes are going to be on them. Hard to see something big coming out of it, but it's high stakes for both sides here.
Yes, and I'll note that we broke that White House meeting on, I think it was Saturday night, but I don't remember.
Punchable News always working for you.
Yeah, sadly we are. Quite annoyingly. I'm kidding. Okay, so you might notice the date, as Anna, as you said, it's the 29th, and the government funding deadline is tomorrow, the 30th. That's tomorrow. And the White House is finally holding a meeting between Donald Trump, Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries, Mike Johnson, and John Thune. I'll be honest with you, I don't expect much. Why do I not expect much? Because people who are involved in the meeting don't expect much. And this seems in some respects like the White House kind of reversing a bad decision that it made a couple days ago or a week ago or so to cancel a meeting between Hakeem Jeffries, and Chuck Schumer and the president. This time, the Speaker and the Senate Majority Leader are going to be in the room, but the Republicans are going into this meeting and thinking and saying, I don't know what they're thinking, but they're saying they are not going to relent on their insistence that a clean CR is the way to get out of this, and then they could talk about healthcare funding after that. Now, of course, Democrats know they hold the keys to 60 votes. They are the only pathway to 60 votes, unless
and there is no unless.
Unless a bunch of Democrats turn into Republicans overnight, which I don't think is going to happen. So Democrats have absolutely no reason to cave. But I'll be honest with you, and this kind of struck me. I don't know, it struck me a couple days ago, but we said it pretty clearly this morning. What Democrats are asking for in extending these enhanced Obamacare premium subsidies has very, very, very little support among Republicans. I mean, this isn't something where it's like, we're going to get around to this, but we're just not going to do it now. Like, there's a chance that if they don't do it now, they're not going to get around to it. And there's an equal chance that if they do it on a CR, that holds huge peril to Johnson and Thune. So, 3 p.m. today, Anna, this meeting is going to be happening. So what do you got for me? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think there's two things that are important to talk about here. One, I do think this was a misstep originally by the White House to say they were going to have a meeting and then call it off. It gave Democrats a talking point last week saying, hey, like, they won't even meet with us. How can we have a negotiation, right? And so it almost feels like we're going back a couple steps to then go forward. I do think for Democrats they're asking for a couple of things, but on Obamacare subsidies, Democrats have had a winning message when it comes to health care at the election, on the election ballot. And I think they see this as whether or not there's widespread support for it or not among Republicans. I agree with you. This would be challenging to get Republicans on board. There are some. This is one of those issues that is dividing Republicans, unlike a lot of other things. And so this is something where you can see Democrats say, like, all right, well, this is going to be our talking point for the midterm election. We wanted to save these, people are, it's not like, oh, this thing's happening in the ether. People are about to get slips saying their rates are going up significantly at a time when a lot of folks are worried about how they're going to pay their bills and inflation and the economy. This is one of those kind of kitchen table issues that I think Democrats do feel like there is an ability for them to fight on. It's not as if they're going to some kind of just traditional Democratic talking point that isn't salient with the Republican, kind of voter.
Yeah, I agree. And, I'll say one other thing, Anna, and we've said this before, but there's some Democrats who just say, forget it. Let them own this mess. You know what I mean? They're in charge. Let's not bail them out.
Right.
Let's let Republicans own this. Healthcare premiums are going to go up, as much as 25% on some people. Some people just won't be able to afford healthcare. Like, just let them have it. Let them own it. That's not in Democrats' nature. I think you would agree with me on that, right? Like, that's not how Democrats think. It's not how they operate.
They want to keep the government open. I mean, that is typically they want more government programs and things from their perspective to help. I mean, this is an uncomfortable position that a lot of Democrats find themselves in, particularly in the Senate, who think they historically have been kind of the adults in the room.
They like government.
But I do think, and I mean, we're all watching it really carefully. We'll have to see, do Senate Democrats continue? And there was a call over the weekend. They seem to kind of be hard and fast in their position, comfortable with the fact that they are headed towards a shutdown. But this will be a big moment for Chuck Schumer to kind of lead Democrats into a shutdown and not necessarily know how they're going to get out of it.
Yeah. I'll say one other thing, and that's what's leading Republicans to thinking that Schumer's going to fold. And I don't think he will. Maybe he'll look for another off ramp. I don't know. I mean, Jeffries has said we need an ironclad legislative commitment to deal with the healthcare situation. Are there ways to do that? There's always ways to do anything if you have 218 votes in the House. But I don't think so. Number one, and number two, I could tell you, I talked to a lot of House Democrats. They all think Schumer's going to fold. Maybe not all of them, but Jeffrey said on a conference call, I guess it was, I don't remember when it was, a couple days ago, that he talked to Schumer, and Schumer indicated that his caucus is not folding. And yesterday on a Senate Democratic caucus, as we have this in the AM edition, there's a caucus call that said, where they said something similar. So anyway, we'll have to see how this shakes out today. We'll be all over it. And one day, Anna, tomorrow night.
T-minus 1 day. All right, Jake, let's go to the number 2 story of the morning. We're just 2 days away from a full government shutdown, and the blame game is in full swing as both parties appear dug into their demands and unwilling to budge. Let's take a look here how Republicans and Democrats are forecasting their messaging plans for the coming days. First up, Republicans. It's really, of all the shutdowns that we have covered, we've watched, being students of Congress, this is the first time that I think Republicans are really united going into a shutdown. Oftentimes, they've been the market forcing mechanism for the shutdown, and there's been one or two lawmakers who are leading the charge.
Let's say always.
And this is a different path for them right now.
Yeah, it is. And Republicans are going, they've done their best to try to relent on their advantage by not having the House in session, by canceling this meeting, all those things. But they're already pressing Democrats for trying to get the taxpayer-funded benefits for illegal aliens. What they're saying here is rolling back some of these OBBB provisions. That's a bank shot to say the least. But Republicans are just going to hammer Democrats for this if they do go into a shutdown. And to be honest with you, we mentioned this in the top, but worth mentioning here, Donald Trump has the biggest bully pulpit potentially in American history.
Sure.
As a president. I don't mean to be glib here, but this is somebody who has the hold on a lot of different media, I guess it would be. Democrats think they could go into a shutdown and come out in a better position. They're going to say, listen, Republicans want to gut health care. Same thing they've been saying, to be honest with you, for 15 years, since, or even more than that. So we're going to see a big political swirl here over the next couple of days and potentially weeks. I mean, this could be a long shutdown. It could be no shutdown at all. It could also be a long shutdown.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, I do think what's going to be interesting, as you say, the Trump factor here on the messaging wars, right? He has not been super active here in terms of kind of using the full force of the White House and kind of, to your point, all the different levers on whether it's True Social and X or, kind of doing TV interviews, things like that. I would expect that Joe goes into high gear if we actually get into a shutdown. And Democrats also very united, though, Jake. And I think, as we've said and been critical of the fact that Republicans in the House have said they're not going to come back this week. We'll see if they stick to that. But Democrats are going to try to use, you can just see press conference after press conference on the, congressional steps to try to make it as absolutely uncomfortable as possible for Republicans. It's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out, kind of in DC, but also across the country. All right, let's go to the number 3 story of the morning, and there's more. We have got so much stuff. I'm making a new category for us. We often do this in the newsletter. But first, want to just note, Punchbowl News closed out CBCF ALC week. It was a big week for us last week. We had an HQ just steps away from the convention center, where we had Maryland Governor Wes Moore on stage, as well as an expert panel, community conversations, a really impactful day, Jake. And then on Sunday, we were in partnership with the Black Women's Congressional Alliance at the organization's 4th annual brunch. It was a very festive affair at the British ambassador's residence, honoring Black women leaders in politics, including Representative Sydney Kamlager-Dove, Wendy Parker, Donnie Turner, Layla Brooks, and Shelby Talton. A really great day for us, and kind of in a way to close out a very, very busy CBC week.
Yeah, the CBC remains probably the most politically potent caucus in Congress. And the CBC week is almost like a political convention, Anna. Well,
Yeah,
it is.
it really is.
It is a political convention by definition, but it is like like the RNC or the DNC. It is a big event which a lot of members attend, and very cool that we got to partner with them. A few other notes for our "and there's more" category. Angela Also Brooks has a new chief of staff. Jim Notter is taking over for Angela Also Brooks as chief of staff. He has worked for Hoyer for more than a decade. And Margaret Mulcairn is taking over as chief of staff, one person who has gone from communications director to chief of staff, someone that we know well in the Punchbowl News universe. So a lot of news on the staff front as well.
And we've got a coalition of 10 NCAA Division I conferences endorsing the SCORE Act and NIL framework that's set to be considered in the House this year. That coalition includes the Big West, Big Sky, A10, Horizon League, Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference, Ohio Valley Conference, Southern Conference, the Summit League, the Western Athletic Conference, and West Coast Conference. I had no idea there were that many conferences, but
there are even more than that, Anna. But I will say,
I'm learning new things every day.
The A10 is where the George Washington revolutionaries, sorry, not colonials, revolutionaries will be. That's where they are. That's where they've been for a long time. And I don't know if you saw my Instagram story, but GW is playing Georgetown for the first time in like 100 years. It is an exhibition game. That's because Georgetown doesn't want to lose to GW in a regular season game, but that will be at the Smith Center in October. We're less than a month away from that, which is, just a massive,
I'm prepping right now, just mentally get ready for the game.
I was talking to my son about it yesterday, and he's like, my son is a big basketball fan. He's like, but this doesn't count for their records. I was like, dude, stop it. This is huge. Oh. So anyway.
We will leave it there. Thank you all so much for listening. We appreciate it. If you like the Daily Punch, share it on social media, tell your friends. It's the best way for folks to find out about us. And of course, you can go deeper on all these issues and more by going to punchbowl.news and signing up for our free morning newsletter. Have a great day and stay safe, everybody.